So since my consumer inventory checker China has started to fall behind since we added in this random amount of time that the thread sleeps, we're going to turn this into a work queue, which means that we want multiple consumers to be able to pull messages out of order backlog China. And the fact that some may take longer than others, so the ordering will no longer be maintained as they write to order declined or order approved, is going to be okay for us. So that's going to work out well for a work queue situation. So what we need to be able to do to allow multiple consumers to connect is to change the subscription type from exclusive to shared. This means that multiple consumers will be able to get messages from the topic that we're subscribed to, the order backlog China, and some messages will go to one consumer, some will go to the other, but messages would never go to both. And then as they process them, again, the outputs might be out of order, which is going to be okay for us. So now that we've set that up with shared, let me go ahead and start this consumer up again, one instance of it. And I think there's a few messages that are still backlogged from the last time I had inventory or order producer running. So let's let those clear out before we start up order producer again. So here it's handling some messages that we had allowed to run earlier. Let's see how far it's got to go. It's got to get up to about 60 is where I produced the last message to order backlog China. So it's going to catch up here. Let me start up the order backlog China again. So it starts producing messages, and then we'll see that order backlog China starts to fall behind once again. So here it started producing messages again, and here it's consuming them. And it will start to fall behind just as we had seen before. To help it catch up, let's go ahead and try creating a second consumer that's exactly the same as this one, inventory checker China, but now we have a subscription type of shared. So if I go ahead and create another terminal, and I go into the developer training folder, let me use my command here to start up a second instance that's exactly the same, both connecting to order backlog China. Okay, here's our orders. We're up to order 44. Here we're only processing through order 36. And then here we have the second instance starting up, connecting, and it will get some of the messages from inventory checker China. So here you can see this one processed message 54. And if I go over here and look, 54, it actually hasn't even gotten to that. Here it's on 50, 52. We'll see the next one that the first instance processes, 56. So while 54 went to this one, and 58 and 62, those did not go to this one. So all messages will get consumed by either one consumer or the other, and the amount of time it takes to process could be somewhat random based on our thread sleeping. So let's take a look at the output of these into our output topic. We're going to say it's order approved, and to read from that we used the confirmation email. So let's take a look at the order that the messages arrive at the order approved by starting up the confirmation email Java program. So if I go ahead and create a fourth terminal, I'm going to say change into my developer training folder, and we need to open up confirmation email, read out of the order approved topic to see the ordering of our messages now. So I'm going to start this up. We'll have to let it catch up just a little bit because there's been some messages published there that were unrelated to this particular activity. So we'll let those catch up, and then we'll check the message ordering of the most recent ones processed by our two instances in a shared subscription. As I start reading messages out, we can look carefully at the ordering here, and we see that the unique order number, for instance, goes from 438 to 444 to 442. So they're now out of order. That's because some messages are going to the first instance of the inventory checker China that we're running, while some go to the second, and they each have a random amount of time that they work. So this is essentially showing how using a shared subscription to make a work queue no longer guarantees ordering of messages in the output topic from that shared work queue.